We find the most unique European sweets in the USA. Maialino in New York City.
We're talking about like regional, authentic Italian cuisine.
Oh, the caramelato.
Oh, make a you taco with your hands. It's so good.
When it comes to European-style desserts, La Dolce Vita has definitely made a home in the Big Apple.
We're talking about like regional, authentic Italian cuisine. It's here in New York to stay. Especially pastries. Oh, the pastries. No, make a you taco with your hands. It's so good.
Maialino is owned by Danny Meyer, and it's his Roman trattoria.
One of the first times that I went, I actually ordered every dessert on the menu because I couldn't decide. Everything is so delicious.
The desserts are very simple and somewhat refined, but not at all stuffy.
There is an awesome budino di cioccolato, which is essentially like a bread pudding made with chocolate croissants.
I tried taking the budino di cioccolato off the menu during the summer, and that lasted about 3 days. I got so much backlash and complaints that I had to put it back on the menu.
The bread element is these chocolate croissants that are a little bit stale. She cuts them into cubes, she puts them in a bowl, and she pours the custard over it.
In this case, you really want a day-old croissant because what that does is it allows all of that cream to soak up into it. A fresh one wouldn't work the same way.
I've never been jealous of a chocolate croissant before, but I am a little bit.
Once the croissant pieces have soaked up that custard, she spoons them into individual ramekins.
Once it comes out of the oven, she unmolds it, places it on a plate with a scoop of hazelnut gelato, hazelnut brittle, and chocolate cake crumbs.
Bread pudding can come across as pretty dense, heavy stuff. Not this one. This is like made for angels.
I am a sucker for a bread pudding. Oh, I love it.
When you bite into it, you find these little, like, morsels of chocolate throughout because it's chocolate croissant. It's warm, so the chocolate's melting. It's exciting just to eat it.
The caramelato. I think we should have a moment for the caramelato.
It's like the American cinnamon bun went on a Roman holiday and came back even better.
She makes the dough and it sits overnight, so it proofs and it gets fluffy and it gets jiggly.
And then Rahel portions out the individual buns.
Then on the bench, working with both hands, she shapes them into perfect rounds.
She scoops toffee into the base of each muffin cup.
This thing is just sinful all the way around. She dips the brioche into melted butter, and then she rolls that around in cinnamon and sugar. And then it goes into its little toffee bed.
Then they're off to bake. What is better than a buttery ball of brioche bathed in toffee?
When it comes to the table, you think, wow, this is going to be like this little sugar bomb. But when you break into it and you eat it, you realize that it's not as sweet as it appears. It's very light and fluffy, and it has this light layer of caramel toffee. It's the perfect Italian version of a cinnamon bun.
There's nothing to not like about this. If someone doesn't like this, you shouldn't talk to them anymore because they're out of their freaking mind.
These are clearly Italian-inspired desserts, so you bet there's going to be an olive oil cake.
The olive oil cake, I think, is becoming something of a legend here in New York City.
This dessert is so beautiful in its simplicity. It's a slice of this moist, wonderful olive oil cake with a little scoop of vanilla mascarpone on top, and that's it.
The olive oil adds not only flavor, but this wonderful moist texture to the cake.
And she adds a lot of citrus elements. She uses the zest of 3 whole oranges. She uses orange juice. She uses some orange liqueur, but it's not overly fruity at all.
If you've never had olive oil cake, imagine a pound cake, but juicy.
It's just really simple, not complicated, really straightforward, and incredibly delicious.
That was really good.
It's wonderful to see someone who's taking classic pastries and not feeling the need to reinvent them, and that's what's happening at Maialino. They're rustic yet sophisticated. They're desserts, but they're not too sweet. I mean, all in all, they're perfect.
If you don't live in New York, it's worth the trip to go to Maialino. But make a reservation at 6 so you can stay as long as possible and get everything on the menu.